Once again, good day, senior high icons. Welcome to our third lesson, which has something to do with evaluating sources. So at the end of this lesson, I want you to be able to identify the different criteria on evaluating sources and to determine the best sources to use. So before we start, I wanted to test your vocabulary first. So you need to guess the missing words. And this game is called Tara Guess. So don't worry because the words that you will be guessing are part of our lesson for today. So are you ready? Let's start. So what do you think is our first word? Good job! The answer to this item is sources. Can you repeat after me? Sources. Very good. Let's proceed. Now, what do you think is this word? Great! The answer that we are looking for is relevance. Please repeat. Relevance. Good job! Now, what do you think is the answer? Amazing! The answer is authority. Please repeat. Authority. Very good. How about this one? What can you think of? Perfect! The answer that we are looking for is currency. Please repeat. Currency. Very good. How about the last one? What do you think is this word? Good job! The answer that we are looking for is content. Can you repeat? Content. Very good. So here are the criteria in evaluating sources. We have relevance, authority, currency, content, and location of sources. But do you agree that we should not depend and believe in all the information we find online? Let's discuss that further. So let us now discuss relevance. When we say relevance, your sources, especially if you are researching, must all be related with your topics. Let's say, for example, you are conducting a research about coronavirus. Of course, you need to look for articles which is the same content and not something which has nothing to do about it. And you have to make sure that the ideas present on that source must be able to support your topic because they will provide evidences and will make your work reliable. So aside from checking the relevance of the source, you also need to check the author's qualification or the authority. So for this one, we just wanted you to check the author's background before using him as a source. So you have to make sure that the name is identified or mentioned. Also, you have to check their background, their educational attainment, if it has something to do with the topic, or if they have attended trainings which has something to do with your work. Also, you have to check if he or she is a professor. You have also to make sure that you have his contact information and the place of publication, so you could check if he really is working there or not. What is the importance of this? If you know that your author's background is quite good enough, then it would help you defend your work and it would make your work credible and reliable. So just in case you have encountered an article with an anonymous author, you have to think twice before using it. Also, let's say for example, there is a university website, so you can check that out to make sure that he is really affiliated or connected with that university, if he really graduated there or not. So let us try to check if you know how to locate the right source using the author's qualification. What do you think should we use if we are doing a research regarding stock market? Alright, the correct answer is letter A. Why? As we can see between the two, Mau Guevara has the educational attainment that is more related to stock market rather than Adolf. So the correct answer is letter A. Aside from those two, we also need to check the date in which the source had been published. So you have to make sure that the source is not outdated but updated. You need to say it's the latest one. The time scope is 5 years. It means that your source must not be older than 5 years. up until present. So let us now try to check if you would know how to determine the best source using the currency. Which material would you think will be used for a research regarding electromagnetism? Is it A, B, C, or D? Your time is running. Great! The correct answer is letter B. If you would only base it using the relevance, all of this would be possible because they all have something to do with electromagnetism. But if you would base it on the year, you could see that letter B is the most recent one. So that's the best source or article to be used. Now let us proceed with the contents, in which we are going to check if the information presented are accurate or not. You have to make sure that it contains facts, statistical records to support your statement, and evidences as well to show proof that your work is really reliable and credible. Also, we have to check if the author is fairly doing that article. Now let's try to check if you know how to locate a source using the accuracy. So which of these sources would you use for a research on Marxism? Is it A, B, or C? Good job! The answer is letter B. Karl Marx and the Foundation of Marxism by Fred Ankel. Why? For letter A, it only focuses on the dark side of Marxism. How about the positive side? And the last one also focuses only on the effects of Marxism, not on the totality of Marxism itself. So the answer is letter B. Lastly, you also need to check the location of sources. It means that we have to check the place in which the article was published. So we have different location of our sources in which we can find them. So we have the books, the newspaper, and the URL or website. But to answer the first question that we have, we must not rely on all the information that we can find in different websites online, because not all of them are reliable and not all of them are written by credible sources. Only if you will be using internet sources, you have to make sure that at the end of their URL, you can find .edu, .gov, .net, and .org. So let's now try to check if you could determine the best URL to be used. So what do you think? Is it letter A, B, or C? Great! The correct answer is letter B. It's www.tokyouniversity.edu. So let us now sum up the lesson that we have discussed for today. So we have here the 5 criteria in evaluating sources. The first one is the relevance of the source to the topic. So in here, we have to make sure to check if the article that we will be using is really related to your topic. Next is the authority. We have to check or to put into consideration the author's qualification or the author's background, if he is affiliated in a reputable university or not. We also need to check the currency, if the article is updated and not outdated. Also, we need to check the content. Is it full of facts, full of citations, full of evidences and proofs? We also need to check the location of the source. Like we have the books, the newspaper, the journals, and of course, the online sources. So we have to make sure that it ends with .edu, .gov, .net, and .org. Alright, so that would be all for today. Once again, thank you so much for comprehending the lesson. I hope that you will now be able to identify which article is best to use and not, and you may now take the quiz that I have prepared for you. See you all next week and have a great day.